Welcome back to the market research on the Oaxacan Tourist platform. So far in parts 1 and 2, we defined our market segments, the market size, and we did a competitor analysis. In this video, for market research part 3, we'll define exactly the target segment of the market, our position in that market, and the customer avatar. So now I was ready to go back to my target market. I fragmented the market, I divided it into segments. Now I need to choose what my target segment is. And I went through and I decided, based on the competitors that were out there, I wanted to target US tourists that were English speaking, that were kind of these budget travelers that wanted a localized experience. They're typically younger single travelers. They use the internet. They were the do-it-yourself type, willing to take risks, and they really, just kind of want to chill and go to some nice restaurants, a few museums. They're not extremely activity-oriented, and they're going to spend most of their time in the city. Maybe not all of it, but, they're just really looking to walk around the city and check stuff out. Now, based on that, I wanted to kind of categorize two very important segments and kind of cluster some of that information into two dimensions. The first dimension I have is how price conscious the customer is. Are they willing to spend a lot of money and do all these extravagant restaurants and hotels and activities? Are they pretty price savvy and on a budget? Secondly, are they really activity oriented, or are they more just city dwellers and they're gonna go to restaurants and museums and stuff like that? And so I started looking at the competition where they fell in here. Now, Viator is very focused on the segment of customers that's willing to spend money, that want to do a ton of activities. That is very clear. VisitMexico.com is very similar to that, but they do offer some free information and some costless attractions, so they're a little bit more vertical and right on the spectrum. And then Lonely Planet really covers the entire spectrum, so they're right in the middle. They have activities they offer, but they also have a lot of tips on what to do in the city for free. They have a lot of activities for free, so they're price conscious, but they also offer activities that are in the hundreds of dollars. So they cover the whole spectrum. And then TripAdvisor, they are very focused on city dwellers. They want to know the best museums, the best restaurants, the best hotels. They're not really all about rating different activities you can do in day trips. And then blogs, they're kind of an animal by themselves because there's so many different blogs and blogs focus on different things. You can't really put them into the spectrum. And this is where I want my product to focus on. Price conscious customers that are city dwellers, but we're still going to offer them a little bit of activity. They're not to the far right and they're not 100% vertical. They are right here. So now that I know my target customer and I've figured out what segment of the market I'm focused on, and I've kind of analyzed the competition and saw where I can differentiate myself, it's time to define my value proposition. First of all, I want to be a one-stop shop for value-packed services. Nobody's doing this. I want to say, here are my 10 favorite Airbnbs, or the 20 most value-packed Airbnbs. They're not going to empty your bank, but they're very nice and comfortable. Here's my favorite restaurants and street foods. Here is the most popular activities. Just maybe a couple activities that are extremely popular. And here's all the information you need to know about transportation. How to get from the airport, how to rent a car, the different options for getting to the beach, the different options for getting to different day trips. So it's a one-stop shop. You have lodging, restaurants, activities, transportation. In addition to being a one-stop shop, I want to focus on not having information overkill. I want to have, here are my favorite, here are the best. So I want limited options. And then within those limited options, I want limited suppliers. So what I mean by that is I don't want to list every single activity that they can do in a 100-mile radius of Oaxaca. Here are the most popular kind of must-do activities. You should do a mezcal tour. You should see the ancient ruins. And you should, let's say, do a art tour. Of those very limited activities, here's a free option for, or a very cost-effective option for doing a mezcal tour. And here's kind of a more higher end or full service tour. So I'd keep it quite limited in what I offered them. And in addition to those two things, I wanted to get innovative and find ways to actually save them money. I would give them information for free on, hey, just do this city walking tour. Here's the map that you should follow. Here's the different destinations you should stop at. If you want to go to this site, you don't need to sign up for a tour. Hop in a taxi, tell them this is how much you should pay that taxi. And work with different restaurants and different Airbnb providers and different tours and different car rental places to say, hey, will you offer my exclusive audience some coupons? It's not going to cannibalize all the rest of their market. They're just going to offer a very small amount of their market discounts to draw them in. And then in the long term, I'd like to offer them a forum for sharing resources. If somebody's going to the beach, they could post, hey, I'm going to the beach on Friday. We have room for two more. So this would provide a unique way for saving money. So just to reframe, it's a one-stop shop. We select the best options, the most value-packed options, and we get away from information overload. And we also try to inject some different means of saving money so that we really tailor our travel platform to this budget, price-conscious traveler. And after I've done all this, I can define my avatar. My avatar is the US or European English-speaking person, typically between 20, 30 years old. They travel a lot, and therefore they're not afraid to do it themselves. They'll use Airbnb and other sharing economy things like BlaBlaCar if they're in Europe. They enjoy walking around the city and casually getting drinks and food, and that's how they spend most of their day. They're willing to eat street food. They're on a budget, but they still want to experience some of the fine dining there, and they'll still spend a little bit of money on activities. They'll typically do one big activity or like one medium activity per day throughout their vacation, but it won't be overwhelmed with activities. And they participate in modern apps like Groupon, TripAdvisor. They read blogs, and they're typically traveling in a group of 2 to 4. So that is my target market customer. That's my customer avatar. I'll come back to this once I go through the business model a little more, but for now, that's good enough.
So that concludes our market research for the Oaxacan Tourist Platform, part 1, 2, and 3. In the next video, we're quickly going to review what we did.